We want to keep it as a sort of debate, so it will be open. We briefly introduce the topic of the discussion, then Tyrone will have like the pleasure to speak and explain everything about this new VET, which is the acronyms of Validator Election Track. So how the community participate in this selection mechanism, what are the validator whitelist and the validator boost list, how validators are scored to enter in this whitelist and boost list, and they're like the difference between basically this new mechanism, this new VIT mechanism, and the previous one. And then like there will be a second, let's say, tranche of question which can be addressed directly by collators, users, whoever is interested or want to raise a question. It's simply like you can raise your hand and then we manage, me and Thomas, we will be like the moderator of this discussion. We'll give you like the possibility to speak and address question directly to Tyrone in order that everyone is on the same page and everyone is has basically the possibility to answer question to have its question answered. Of course, like question would be, because I'm receiving question at the moment. The question would be like one by one, of course. So it won't be like an open debate where everyone can talk to each other. It will be like a one-to-one question between like the collator or the user and Tyrone. Okay. I believe we can start. This call is recorded by Thomas, and it will be available after probably between this evening and tomorrow on our social media channels, so like Twitter and YouTube, for whoever didn't have the chance to basically attend this call. So briefly, I will give the talk to Tyrone, which will lead this conversation today about this new validator election track. And if you want to start, Tyrone, the stage is all yours.
Thanks, Christian. So the questions were hosted for each one of them, or I just going through all of them?
You can actually arrange a discussion, or like I can just I already did a little recap of like things are gonna be addressed during this call, so you can just lead the conversation, organize the discussion as you think it's better. Okay. And then like of course in the meantime we are collecting like people who may have questions.
Okay, no problem. Welcome everyone. I think today's audience is all about the collators that running on Bifrost and Tyrone Polkadot. So as well as Moonriver and Moonbeam. So welcome everybody, and I will briefly introduce about the new mechanism and the scoring mechanism of how to select the validators by the Bifrost liquid staking palette, and why we're doing it, and what's the benefits upon it, and how each one of the collator can apply for it, and jump into the selection of the Bifrost SLP collators being one part of it. So I'm going to speak and discuss with these topics straightforward. So we can begin it. So the first I want to say about what actually is the SLP protocol briefly. SLP protocol is actually the liquid staking protocol on Bifrost that running by the runtime of Bifrost power chain of Tyrone and Polkadot. provide liquid staking services for right now for Kusama, Dot, River, Moonbeam. And the relationship with the collators and validators is that the SLP mechanism will delegate and bound staking tokens, for example, like KSM, DOT, the collator, and the validators. So which means the relationship between the collators and the SLP is that we will using SLP protocol itself, we're using cross-chain delegating to another chain staking mechanism. So that's the basic logic that Bifrost doing. And upon it is the importance to discover like how it actually select each of the collator and how to select the validators by what standards, right? That's why we recently published an article to introduce about what is the how to select, what is the election mechanism of SLP. So which include 3 parts of the characters. The first one I want to introduce is the validator whitelist. You can we also name it as the VWL, so validator whitelist. So the meaning of this is the whitelist of the validator in selection of the SLP. So it actually is the list of the public validators scoring by the SLP and selected via referendum automatically issued by the SLP protocol. And these validators got delegations by a top-down score ranking. So which means if you are a public collator validator and you're selected by the SLP, and the delegation will be bound to each one of them by the order of the top down score ranking. So I think that's maybe the easiest ways to understand the mechanism behind it. And besides of it, you can actually avoid to be selected by the ranking. So that's another way. We want to open it, just not limited into the mechanism itself, but make it public to the community. So there should be also the collators and validators selected by the public community users. So that's the second concept, it's the second character that we announced about validator election track. So the name of the track is coming from the Polkadot and Kusama governance 2.0, which is the open governance that being deployed in the Kusama relay chain. So each governance have a track to decide what's the origin of each track to execute what functions in each track. So the validator election track is the track to only execute relatively related functions relatively with a validator selection. So it's a VET, the validator election track, the VET that initiated by the community itself, which means if there is one of collator want to initiate a proposal on the Bifrost community in the off-chain discussion, like propose it in the subsquare in WebAssembly. So you definitely make a chance to discuss it in the off-chain discussion channel. Of course, this Discord is also a place to do that. But finally, it's the better to gather the hold the discussion in the subscribe and to see what's the feedback and comments from the community. So in the proposal, it's better to each collector can clarify what's the benefits of your collector and what's the historical slash, if any slash, or what's the historical performance of your collector, and how long you have been running for the collector or validator, and what's the experience of yourself. So it's coming from some quantitatively and qualitatively data or explanation contents to show your qualified collector to be selected by the SLP protocol. So if the proposal is supported or comments by much of community, so it's a better way to propose it on chain. So the BNC user holders will vote on it, and if it passes through successfully, the validators will be actually added into the white list in the SLP front. So which means the delegator will be definitely delegated. Sorry, the validator or collector will definitely be delegated by the SLP protocol. So the list of this 100% be delegated by the SLP is another concept. I have to say that's the validator boost list. So the validator boost list, like I said, is selected, and the proposal from the Bifrost community and selected, to the on-chain, to the off-chain, and then to the on-chain, and passing through the referendum and selected by the community. So the VBL will definitely get the delegation, but is not. Yeah, it is in the ranking of the score, but it doesn't mean that it definitely will be in the scoring ranking. So the benefit of the VBL is that you can definitely get the delegation from the SLP. And each of the VBL, each of validators in the VBL will maintain about 6 months, and then they will be selected again. So that's the reason that Bifrost SLP have to make sure that the scoring system running well, and selected from the public nodes, and make sure that's transparency enough, and the 6 months time that's actually selected by the community, and the community also need to monitor the performance is actually running on the production of Bifrost SLP. So there's many factors related with list validators. So hopefully I just introduced this briefly and clearly, and maybe if you have any question, we can discuss in the stage right now. So maybe it's a good spot to stop a little bit.
Comment on fait? Yes, or Riabina. Yes. Hi everyone.
Hi.
Thanks, Tim. And I would like to ask a few questions about how it will works. I'm interested about what tools can the community use to understand performance of validators. Uh, Maybe you will prepare some public dashboards or something what will help community to understand which validator is good or not. Especially, it's important about boost validators.
Mm. Thanks, Anna. Performance that in the historical of maybe you're running on Kusama validators, so that's taking an example. I think this definitely is visible for users to check it on chain for the historical of your performance on Kusama. So I think the Kusama is the case and Moonriver and Moonbeam as well. So I think the interface is on their end to be you can publish it into the share it into the community, and I think that's the doable way.
Yeah, I know there are exist several dashboards and interfaces what can show you some performance. Probably you uh, you have choose the one of them that I asked. And what about methodology? How you add in validators to whitelist? What about these numbers of performance? How will you adjust it in future? And how will you change your methodology?
I agree one. The logic of determining the score for each validated and collated is actually running by the script on Bifrost. Uh, there has some parameters related with uh, first one is the if you have any tag on chain. So for example, like that Kusama, if you have a green tick on your validator,
Yeah,
so it means
identity.
yeah you have a registered on chain. So which means this is the publicity of a validator that can visible for users to check. Yeah, you have been registered and uh, or you have entity on chain. So it's more like you have a basic score at the beginning. That's one. And other things is if you have any slash history on yourself, if you have any, definitely the score will be lower on the standard. And the commission fee uh, taking yourself is also uh, standard to be judged at the beginning. Normally, we SLP itself select validators from 3% to 5% commission, and the polkadot as well. So if you're right in this range, so the score will be the standard. And also, it also has the how long have you running for the collator or the validators is another standard. Uh, yes, this standards I mentioned about haven't been published to the article announced it yet. Is still we are still we are doing the experimental and doing testing around this right now is being launching on the Moonbeam and Moonriver collated.
Okay.
It's more easier for SLP to start with, and then they will start with Kusama and Polkadot. So it's kind of like a roadmap, small roadmap on it. And the standards, how we judge standards, how the SLP select and score it. There will definitely be an article to publish in the next months.
Yeah, I've just published as an example. I've published the VBNC collateral rank, which was published in the last article when we launched VBNC staking. I've put the link in the AMA questions channel. If some of you are not aware of what could like the collateral ranking system, so here it's for only BNC, but I think probably, like as Tyrone was saying, I think the list and the ranking and how it's computed, then it will be probably published the same way as we did for VBNC collateral rank. Yeah, so this is an example, and I think it will be in the same way later with Moonbeam, Moonriver, and the relay chain, the validators rules. Yeah.
I mentioned about the roadmap, right? So VBNC and vMove and VGlamour, the three of them, using the actually the mechanism behind them is quite similar. So the SLP mechanism can have ability to select validators on the target chain, but Kusama and Polkadot is not able to select which validator we delegate to, because that's a bunch of validator lists that we need to delegate. But the mechanism on Kusama relay and the Polkadot relay, it actually spread around the delegations by automatically. So we can't, the SLP mechanism cannot control it. But Moonriver, Moonbeam, and Bifrost is not a thing.
Okay. Yep. Thanks. Going forward with the question. Thanks, Sainana, for your question. I call on stage Luca from Iceberg Nodes, which I believe have a question as well. Let me see. Yep. You are on stage.
Hello, everyone. I'm Luca from Iceberg Node. And can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Thank
we can
you.
hear you well.
Thank you. So let me start to thank you for your information that you provide us with this community call and with the official draft document that I read. So I have to ask you some questions, or better, I have some suggestions for you regarding your liquidity staking in general from our validator and collector point of view. So we know that each chain has its own staking mechanism. For example, Moonbeam, it is a decentralized proof of staking, so the post-staking consensus with, for example, in this case, parachain staking pallet. Other chain, for example, Polkadot and Kusama, are using consensus, for example, nominated proof of stake. And so the staking mechanisms are completely different. For this reason, I suggest you to keep a general document like the proposed one for general information and definition. So the one that you also proposed to us. But also, I suggest to prepare a specific and more detailed document for each chain in which you are launching your liquidity staking services, or at least a specific document for each type of chain based on their consensus type and palette used for staking. For example, Bifrost is very similar to Moonbeam, but not all chain are the same. Not all parachain and relay chain are the same. I'm asking this because we, as validator and collator, we would like to have more detailed information, not only about the selection process, that this is very clear and detailed also in the draft document. So the scoring system that you spoke with us, but also when a validator and or collator will be removed from the whitelist and or from the boost list, because as you know, the unstaking phase for a validator or collator is a critical phase, and this behavior is more pronounced in chain where the distance between two collator, but also with the collator in the whitelist, wait list, so no active at the moment, is very short. For example, during this day on Moonbeam, there is a very, very low distance, very, very short distance between collator. So for this reason, I would like to suggest a step-by-step, or better, a gradual unstake for collator, for validator and collator, that will be removed both from whitelist and both from the boost list. Because I think it will be a normal practice to be removed from the whitelist, for example, in order to be replaced with a low staked validator collator with higher APR, because when the validator collator will receive a big amount of staking vote, for example, from Bifrost liquidity staking, it's normal that its APR decrease accordingly.
Yes.
So I think this is my suggestion. One, briefly, is to split the document, so keep the general part, but also split with detailed documents for one for each chain, or better for group of chain with the same rules, for example, for collator, for the same palette. And the other suggestion is to adopt a gradual unstake.
Yeah. I think they are all good points. What do you think, Tyrone?
Dwarghand suggestions. Thank you, Luca. And we
Thank-
were discovering this, so separating a bunch of a power chain, like you said, is definitely necessary. So I think that's what we're trying to do now. We actually batching the Bifrost, Moon River, and Moonbeam as a batch, because some of the Polkadot as another batch. So, like you said, yeah, it's definitely running. The different mechanism behind for the collators and validators, definitely. Around the validators that around the collators in the whitelist, that maybe there's just a chance or apparently get decrease or increase of the delegations from the SLP. Definitely, it's not a good case to see that appearance on chain. If there is the dramatically increase or decrease for collator, then the delegation is not held for each of them. So that's why we initiated about a period of time that VBL may be kicking out from the validator list, because there's a regular and certain time that each collator can evaluate and see how much time of left and to execute some of behaviors in advance. So that's just only one thing that we were trying to do, but it's not enough. It's not far enough, for sure. Definitely, thanks for your suggestions. We would see and accept more of a suggestion from the community. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Like, guys, I want to remind you that in case like you have further question, like in the next days, you can always use the chat we have in common. You can reach us, me, Tyrone, Thomas in DM, and then we can set up a chat, a group chat, or even like a specific chat with each node to solve any kind of like issue problem you may have. Okay, thanks, Luca. I want to call on stage Ioannis from Steak Baby. Let me know when you're in.
Okay.
Yes, you should be in.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. So what Lucas said about what about exiting? Basically, you guys talked a lot about selection criteria, about entry, how to get in, and most collators, myself for sure, were very interested in knowing what does it take to be kicked out, or what does it take to get to have decreased delegations? What happens? What the selection criteria for that are? And the reason for that is because of the way staking works in Moonbeam, total backing tends to be quite similar between collators. So a small shift by 100k could make a big difference in our position in the list. So that's why we're very, very interested, perhaps more interested in how would the whole process kick us out potentially, rather than how to get in. Getting in, is good if you get in, or it's something that we're not so much afraid of. For us, it's on the other side. So while listening to you, I was kind of like coming up with a table in my head of what I would like to see, and that's just me maybe, but basically the way what would tell me exactly what I would want to know about this is, for every single list that you have, is basically a table, and I imagine the table, on the top axis, maybe it says one event is getting in the list, so entering the list, then another is increasing your stake, the other one is decreasing your stake, and then there's exit from the list. So these are 4 events that may happen to me. I can get in, I can grow my stake to the list, it can be decreased, and then maybe I can get kicked out. And then on the other side, on the left axis, I would want to know for each one of these events, who decides? Is it the delegators? Is it governance? Is it the Bifrost board? Is it, I don't know, who is it? Then what are the quantitative selection criteria? What are the qualitative selection criteria? What logic is on the chain and what logic is off the chain? And that would tell me everything I need to know to assess my risk. So these are, so on the top axis, what are the events that may happen to me? Get in, decrease stake, increase stake, get out. And then on the left side, how will that happen? Who decides? What are the selection criteria? Which part of the logic is on chain? Which one of it is off chain? So that's my 2 cents, if you want. I don't have any question, because I know this is like, it's still early in the process and you guys are making this as we go, but it's a very difficult problem and you've done good work to this point, I think.
Okay, no problem. Thanks a lot for the bunch of the question.
Yeah.
I would start it from the first step. So about answering it, I've introduced about how we increase that, who to do that, increase the delegation, right? Who to do that. So right now, the SLP proto is actually delegate to the validators that being manually change and input from the on-chain referendum. So the right is coming from the root, and it have to be going through the referendum proposal. So if anyone want to change, the validators, if anyone want to change the validator that being staking right now, so you have to propose it on chain to be executed on chain, so the list can be replaced and change the slot for any of it. So that's how how being selected and being replaced.
So I understand. I mean, the execution happens on chain, but it's more about the selection process. You know, if the selection process is done through a voting, then that voting, is it done on chain? Yes, it's done on chain. Is does it look on performance criteria? Are these performance criteria on chain? No, they're probably not. We're looking at them off chain, and we're making decisions. These are the kind of things, you know, that we're asking ourselves.
That the decision right now is selecting by the Bifrost team right now. So we actually regularly picking up a time, most about 1 or 2 weeks, and selecting the spot to see the performance and the return rates on each of the validators and calculator. So replaced some of them, or if it have bad of a performance or the lower returns on it, so will be manually replaced on chain. So that's the logic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Yeah, no, that's a good answer. So it's more or less it's governance controlled, and you know the filtering, the decisions are made off chain. So then the question becomes more of what are the plans to evolve this to kind of grow outside the Bifrost board and I don't know, into other people's hands basically.
The next step is referendum. Like I said, we actually selecting regularly by the team to initiate the referendum on chain and to execute it, right? To replace some of them collectors running right now. And the next step is the SLP mechanism. Like it's like I mentioned, the script, the scoring system. There's actually a list that be scoring on the ranking of each the collectors, and this SLP mechanism will automatically propose each of them on chain. So there will be many of replacements. It depends on the return rate of the validators. It decides whether it should be replaced. If there is the requirements for the mechanism, it will automatically meet the standards of itself and propose the referendum to replace another validators, and they should be voting by the community.
Okay.
The script is off chain, correct?
Sorry.
The performance measuring script is off chain, correct?
Yeah. The script is running on off chain.
Yeah. It's a very difficult problem, because you might end up chasing your own tail. Because say that you're delegating to validator and you have a big delegation to them, and you're actually decreasing the APR by doing that, and then you undelegate. And then all of a sudden the APR goes up. So, and then you also have to spend 2 days and 7 days in Moonbeam to wait for that. So you're losing income while you're doing that. So it's a very, very complicated problem to solve, and it sure does need involvement of people and algorithms. Lots of.
You mentioned about this very good point. We have to wait, 7 days or 2 days, but resumption period to change, to switch to another one. Yeah.
Got you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ioannis. Something I want to mention is that, of course, as also Ioannis mentioned, is that the whole process is a work in progress. The scope, the goal of this call is, first of all, of course, inform all of you about the actual process, the actual document that we came up with, and then present it to you as collators or particularly interested users. But of course, we will take off this feedback and comment you're making, the one, for example, has been made today during this call to open a discussion internally with the team, with the devs, and see where do we can improve actually this whole mechanism in order to make it the best possible for everyone. I have also Joshua in line with a question, and that should be join the stage. Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So, my question is about Moon River and Moonbeam parachains, especially because there is a orbiter program similar to 1KV for Kusama and Polkadot relay chains. So my question is about that. If we have a orbiter program collator, is it possible to be elected with validator whitelist or validator boost list?
Sorry, could you repeat that? What's the program it was?
Orbiter.
Orbiter program. The orbiter program in Moonbeam and Moon River can set up a validator, a collator in this case, with several minimum sub-bond and make it active in the actual set. So is not a collator with active set, always active on set, but stake with an interval time.
Okay.
And I want to know if it's possible to be selected in the validator whitelist or validator boost list.
Yes, definitely. Any validators that you are running, but you have to be sure you're actively running right now. So if you're running on chain for the collator, if there's no any I think if there's no any slash history, so it definitely have a chance to be selected, because you can propose the referendum yourself, and how will it pass it decided by the community.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think from what I understood from myself, which is not a collator or validator from the new process, is that even if you are a small collator or validator, with the new process of referendum and asking community to be added like to the VBL, in fact, any collator have a chance to get selected. So even if you're outside and not active in the current sets, from what I understood on my side, is that you get your chance if you are selected by the community. So if you show enough like what you are doing or what you expect to do, like I don't know, providing liquidity, make some advertising of the liquid staking programs, you may have your chance to be selected. Am I wrong, Tyrone?
Yeah, that's correct answer.
Yeah.
Besides how to select it, and previously what the staking baby Philip asking about, how to exit and how's happening be kicking out for the validators that haven't been answered yet. So collators actually not be kicking out or exit with the whole of the delegation that have been delegated or bounded to each one of them, but not be disappear over all of the delegation in one time spot. So which means the SLP will balance the return and the delegations on each validators. It will not happen on if there's one validators be switched out or been changed to another one, the whole bunch of delegations is being nominating or delegating. And for how that the VBL be retired. Actually, I can say that's retired. So there's the 6 months. There's the 6 months from beginning that you being selected from the proposal and the referendum. There's a 6 months of the validator existing period, and then yeah, the SLP delegation will be removed. But that's removed the whole amount of the delegation. But we need further discussions on it. So maybe removed smoothly, month by month, week by week. Maybe it's a better solution, or the 6 months time is enough to make sure that you have a reminder in mind that the 6 months will be retired, so you have some preparation in advance. Yep, that's it. I think that's what I want to add.
Okay, thank you, guys.
No, thank you,
Yes,
Joshua.
thanks a lot.
I guess we have the one last question from Anamix that I'm inviting on stage.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all. First, I read a reply to Joshua. For me, in my opinion, the limit is from Orbiter program that don't allow to receive nomination external from the program, in my opinion, and non get reward properly in Moon River and Moonbeam program. I have a question about similar question, but about the program in Kusama and Polkadot with the 1K view program. If we have a node included in that program, we can join the whitelist.
Yeah, the VBL, the validator boost list, is definitely you can jump into it. Is selecting from the referendum. If you can pass the referendum voting, then execute it on chain, and you will be automatically added to the list.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
It's Thomas.
Yeah.
Maybe I have a question
Yeah.
for Tyrone. So you can be selected by referendum in the VBL, and normally, currently, we say that it was a 6 months period. But can you get kicked off the VBL before the end of the 6 months period? If there is another referendum, maybe that is saying that you are acting badly as a collator or validator, can you be kicked off the VBL before the end of the 6 months period?
Yeah, for sure. If you've been kicking out, it's also execution on chain. So in the case of SLP will not automatically kick that the VBL list out by the scoring, but if there's an emergency or there's an appearance on malicious behaviors on any of the validators collator inside of the VBL, definitely we need to initiate a proposal on chain to kick it out.
Okay.
There's no kicking out mechanism itself
Yeah.
on the SLP to kick that VBL out of the list.
Okay.
Okay, I guess it's already almost an hour that we are in this call. It was actually very interesting. It was pretty, interactive. Once again, I wanted to thanks everyone who took part of it. I saw that on the Yama question channel, that is just right above the Townhall channel on the left, there is already a discussion active, starting from from Joshua question about orbiters. as I said before, like we wanted to thank you not only to be part of it and to participate to this call, but also because, like for example, Johannes' question raised like some interesting points, and we certainly will look at it for the undelegation system and process. Of course, like we have a common channels on Telegram or Discord where we are like we have the collators channel here on Bifrost. We will keep you posted about every kind of like update about the document or new release. Through that, we have also Telegram chat. So definitely, like we are at your disposal for any kind of like further question, inquiries, or like issues. I wanted to thank Thomas and Tyrone for like their availability. Yeah, basically like.
Yes, and thanks
really
everyone.
Wish you a Merry Christmas to all of you around the world. Like, yeah, it's like tomorrow is the Christmas Eve, so it was a pleasure to be with you. And yeah, feel free to use any kind of like channel I mentioned before to ask further question.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank
everybody.
you, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks
Bye.
you. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye bye.
See you. Bye.